Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the lab. I just finished remote duel Extravaganza for this past weekend. Unfortunately, I lost in finals to Delhi, which it's all right. I mean, finals second place still give me good enough prizes. This weekend I played Drytron, as you've already seen in the title probably. And I guess without further ado, I will just start. I'll start the deck, and I'll go through like the whole deck. I'll probably talk about matchup and whatever other thing. So, main deck, monsters, the ritual monster first, the five, Draconids, Perfection, Bentinga, Ten, Natasha. I'm playing the Perfection like the pre-prep everything, so will be Perfection. Natasha, I saw a lot of people cut it. This actually won me a good amount of game threes in time, like a crazy amount of game threes in time. So I kind of really like it. Dracon on the other hand, is the one that just barely have it ever done anything. I don't think so. Like yeah, Dracon has got me. For majority of the time it's a brick, but it just some occasions I kind of need it. Well, I kind of need it in theory, but it never happened. So these are the blue monsters. The Drytrons. I'm playing a very weird line of Drytrons according to a lot of people, I guess. Triple Alpha, Triple Zeta, one Gamma, one Delta. That's enough. I guess I can talk. It's fine. It'll be good. So this is all the Drytron, like actual Drytrons I have. For anyone who has paid attention to the Perfection package, like the pre-prep, I can do combos without drawing any Drytrons as long as I'm like resolving my Dawn. Like just pre-prep is like one of the best example for it. So so that case, I kind of just didn't want to play a lot of Drytrons. Like these two are the best ones, so I kind of have to max out these two. Delta's only here for like fill names and occasionally when to draw when I don't have anything. Gamma is I saw a lot of people just go a lot of Gamma, even max Gamma. I don't like it. Gamma is never the one I want to start, and I almost never even want to see Gamma in any of my opening. I always just want to either like use Novo Emergency to search it when I already have Alpha Zeta, or I just may always be Beta. Forcing to star as Gamma make is usually the worst possible situation. So yeah, that's the actual Drytron. Eight. We'll go through the spell later. And then the fairies are standard at this point, just 3-1. Some people play 3 orange. I kind of feel it's a little bit tricky. Don't need it. I barely use orange as like a hand trap. I usually use it as something to kind of break boards going second or just search it when I'm going first. So this is all the monsters. I think 19 total spells. Yeah, the rest are just all spells. I guess the Drytron spells. Meteorus, Nova, Emergency. I am not playing the field spell because I was anticipating some number of draws, and the field spell kind of bad to play into draws. Two Nova, two Emergency. That's always the line I play. I hate play three of these. In my opinion, at least according to myself, me personally, 2-2 is always correct. I've lost a good amount of games in the past because I drew either a pair of Nova or a pair of Emergency, and like that, the second copy of the spell could just be a Drytron, like even could be an Alpha that's already being used that is still gonna win me games, but nope, it's a Drytron spell instead of monster. Doesn't work. So even I want to play more Drytron spells, I will probably toss in the field first or even beta first before I even think about the third Nova, third emergency. Like we still have three alpha. Like if in the future, Konami limited alpha. All right, now you need to max out both just to have enough chance to see alpha. But at the current game state, current balance, there's no need in my opinion. So these are enough. And then just to back up the Drytron a little bit, there's another Foolish. That's usually another Drytron name technically. I think overall, how many I have? This is 5 plus, I think, 8. So total, I have 13 Drytron in the whole deck out of 42. Well, with 3 pots, so the odds isn't too low. And like I mentioned earlier, I can combo without any Drytron as well. 2 extra foolish, 3 prep and 3 pre-prep, and a dawn. This is just after Ava got limited. I think the power level of the deck is actually weaker if you go for ultimates, because you just usually won't have enough Benton searches to fill your hands, and relying on Beatrice, Mill, Ava, and opponents can kind of make your board vulnerable to things, and well, even if resolving is still not particularly great. So just to make sure I can loop Benton as much as I can, and having as many access to Benton as much as I can, I went through a quite heavy line of the non-Drytron Searcher spells. I guess that's probably it. Extra Foolish is something I tossing very last minute. It's in theory just another like mm, better preparation some point, but going second, I have the option to mill Intus, just like as an MST or something for occasionally for something. I barely drew it during the whole tournament, but in testing it was good enough. The side effect not able to set card doesn't conflict with anything. Like you can just not set the call by or drop it and go first, and going second you're probably not gonna get the thing. The only thing that would conflict is the reboot in the side. If you open extra foolish with reboot, you can only use either or. But I mean, if we're resolving reboot, then I guess I'm not activating extra foolish is fine. And then 3 pots, best card in the deck because it turns into everything. That's about it. Instant and call by for hand traps, mainly draw and cycle readers. So self-explanatory. I don't agree of not playing Instant Fusion Millennium Ice in Drytron because extra deck is fight. I think if that's the case, this card is just good enough to a point you should always rebuild your extra deck just to fit this in. When going through my extra layer, you will see I do actually not playing something just to have a space of everything, but it's good enough. Then 3 droplet. I guess the real hand trap in the entire main deck, right? Orange isn't really. I don't use orange as a hand trap majority of the time. And then 3 droplets is. This is the only card that doesn't do absolutely nothing when I'm going first. But every time when I'm going second, the going second games, whenever I draw droplet, the win ratio of those games are significantly higher than the games I don't draw droplet going second. So even though this is a hard ones per turn and the absolute brick going first, it's still something just required to me in the current format. The games where I went first and I still feel a chance might be losing is always all because my opponent droplet after I full board. But majority of the time I still won because Ava Orange, like the double orange. So yeah, this is all the spells. Let me see, I think it's 23 spells, so make a total 42 cards. And then as you see, I specifically built a whole main deck to a point there is really no deck cards to draw at turn 1. Like, probably one of the most bricky cards. This guy, well, alongside the droplet, like I explained, droplets needed. This guy is kind of bricky, and then Gamma is actually kind of bricky. Everything else is fine. Even Ava is okay. And spell-wise, I just play for like the one that's not once per turn, prep, I max it out. For the one that's hard once per turn, they just have to be good enough, which Nova Emergency are not. And the ones that are good enough for me to play even their own once per turn are pre-prep and pots. Like resolving either pre-prep or pots when you're going second increase the win rate also significantly, just like resolving droplets going second. So yeah, that's the main deck. Extra deck. You made that? Beatrice, and the Zeus package. This is just standard, right? Nothing special. Some people cutting that. I actually disagree with it. Sometimes you just need something to poke. I think how it comes up. This one comes up more than a lot of the extra that like could be for this spot. Then two Arclight, especially because I have extra foolish, that's a must too. And test as well. Millennials for the instant fusion. Like I said, if you having issue in the extra deck and you want to cut this and the instant fusion, I think that's absolutely wrong. This card is so fucking absurd. It's another callback grave where you kind of need it's another callback grave, but better than callback grave because it's a body. For worst case a link one, no, I mean rank one, and then even work going second. Like this can just force Appaloosa. Like this can force half of the Appaloosa revolt from Trapper Gate, for example, or even Dragon Link. And then if you are having trouble, kind of want to cut this, that's wrong. You have to keep it. That's a must. Like I think this one is like almost the same party as having Zeus or Beatrice. Then the links. Oh, yeah, I'm playing high ratings this weekend, huh? Link Rebo, Phoenix Unicorn, IP Appaloosa. What I was trying to say. Oh, I call access code. And I'm not playing Boar Sword. So there's no link monster that's realistically killing people, which is fine because by the time you have so many monsters on the field to kill people, you are winning already, even you don't kill them. That's usually the case. The only issue that might come up is to deal with the at Ignister, the big beefy tower guy, which there's still ways to out it. Even at 6k, you can make a Draconitz, then tribute Natasha twice to pump it for 2k and crush. It's very, very unlikely to happen, but it's in theory possible. For like a regular 4K one, just make Dracon's Crush. And I've even given my Perfection to 48 once, just looping, because my Perfection survived, but I'm out of Fairies in hand. And then, wait, was it? Forgot. It's probably not against the tower, but my Perfection definitely went to 48 before. So, and then the rest of links are just link ripples needed. Phoenix, there's a lot of Imperial Orders in the format. Well, at least they always draw it, so I guess that is a lot. So this is the reason for that. I It does come up very often. I just make a Link Phoenix and actually draw another card, which is very neat. Unicorn IP, those are combined. And then my board usually consists with either IP that can go into either Unicorn Appaloosa or just straight a full material Appaloosa. I'll probably do a part 2 of this video just to show like some of the combos because I think this is going to be a long deck profile. So I will probably split into 2 different parts. So that's the extra deck. Side deck. Let me see. Yeah, that's right. So 3 Sack Reader, 3 Duel. Mira is the only matchup that I think hand trap is required because otherwise you kind of just get FTK. And then, like for other matchup, even you don't draw a droplet, or even in this case, there's like 2 more Dark Lord as backup. Even you don't draw those, every other matchup, there's still a chance to play. But Mira specifically, if I never see my droplet Dark Lord, I might just instantly fold. So I think Mira, because Mira is the only situation, only matchup I require hand traps, so I max them out. The best hand traps in the mirror, right? I guess let's take this one. 3 Lightning Storm and a reboot. Backwards. Kind of self-explanatory. No. There's something. Lightning Storm. Recently, I was looking at the trend when I was preparing for the remote duel extravaganza. At the beginning of this format and the end of last format, there majority of the tribal game has higher chance running judgment instead of anti-spell fragments. There's still a good amount of them running anti-spell, and so as other decks in the format. But I spotted more judgment than anti-spell, and therefore I took out all my Twin Twister in the side and put in Lightning Storm. Even if I want to put in Twin Twister, I don't think Twin will be something to replace Lightning Storm. It will be something in addition to Lightning Storm. But as right now, I mean, I did hold. There's like one game I was holding my Lightning Storm guy in test spell, but it was like, well, all right. And then so I think I prefer Lightning Storm. It's something that just give you options because against both against so what are the top decks in that format? There were like Drytron, in my opinion, the best, followed by Tribrigade, Dragon, Virtual, and probably Shadow Invoke Dogmatica. And against like three of them, Dragon, Virtual, and Tribrigade, Lightning Storm will always give you the option to either hit the front row or the back row based on the other cards in your hand. Because Dragon, they always have what? Sphere, Big Dragon, Tiding, so you get the option to hit either one. Virtual has what? Crystal, Kaliga, Chuche, so you get the option. And so as Tribrigade, there is Appaloosa Revolt, so you can always hit either Appaloosa or Revolt. If I'm running Twin Twister, I'm only hitting Revolt, and sometimes I just have no answer to Appaloosa and lose. That definitely happened before. So I really like Lightning Storm. Lightning Storm won me a good amount of games. So that's about it. Well then, I guess we'll talk about Reboot a little bit. Reboot is the only anti-backrow card that I mentioned earlier, which you don't care if your opponent is running Judgment or anti-spell, this just shuts it down. So this is always the best one of the like these four together. And the last card, well, this is gonna be a funny one. The last three cards in my set are three prohibitions. See, those are supposed to be three crossouts. Uh, it just I didn't order my Mega Team early enough. To a point, I still haven't got them yet. I'm in the second wave players. uh, so I think my side until this weekend was like, well, it was my OCD play set of crossouts, and of course I cannot use it in the tournament, right? So I was looking at all the fucking replacement. Triple D seems very horrible to me. As that card, you get drolled, then well, Triple D look at your opponent's hand and pass. So what else are you gonna do? That's not what I wanted. Then getting other hand traps, then you're trying to draw to. In theory, doesn't really change too much. Triple D, in my opinion, it just also having the brick issue by itself. Not a fan. I'd rather be more active than reactive. So after everything I looked into, Prohibition become the only one. It was like either Prohibition or even Aquadolphin. I was going with Prohibition because it just because like if these are crossouts, I will usually siding crossouts and one draw one cycle reader just to switch because well I need the targets for it. But now since they're prohibitions, I only need to side the prohibition without siding either of those. So after the whole weekend, I would say this card performed better than I expected. In some games, even better than if these were crossouts. There were top 16 I played my friend who's played a PK. At some point, it was like turn 3 or 5. We start grinding, and I know he has a torn skill he just searched last turn. And I either top deck this or drew into this with like Delta when I have almost like nothing. It's a very minimum thing. So I go Prohibition call Tornska, and he kind of just had an issue with it. And the other game I played was like either top 8. I think it was top 8. No, top 16. I played against Alistair dot deck. And I think turn 1, I used the first one called Droll. And at one point, turn 3, I had a defense Zeus with one material, and my opponent has like last turn he got Alistair into Makaba in defense and pass. So his board was secure Makaba with Alistair in hand. I drew for turn and I was like, Prohibition called Alistair. Now he either has to instantly chain to it just to make sure his Makaba isn't dying, or he no longer having the chance to do it. So I think he just didn't chain to it, trying to risk it. I Zeus beat over the Macabre, make basically do a board and pass. And he drew another Alistair for turn. Or Meltdown, I think. So he stuck with a couple Alistairs he couldn't use because that Prohibition called it. So yeah, overall, this definitely performed better. Then if these are crossouts for me, for me for this weekend. But in on the other side, this in theory is kind of worse for compared to crossout because like you can pot into crossout and be perfectly fine. If you pot into prohibition, you under draw range, and now if you got draw, it looks kind of stupid for the purpose of running this card. So I don't even know what I'm gonna do after I getting my crossouts. So I'll say at least I choose the best replacement that's possible, that's most available to me, and I'm not regretting it. So that's for the side deck. Oh, also some people might say, "Well, now three Dark Druid." Dark Druid was like literally the 14th and 15th card. The 12th, even though these were crossouts, the 13 were instantly decided at the very beginning, and I was just thinking about what's the last two cards could be. It was a long time. It was like one Duster and one Lancia. But the way I play it, I will never search the Lancia because I would just always want a full combo and just ask them to scoop. And so the Lancia as a searching target never come up. And then going second Lancia itself as a hand trap, it's worse than other cards. And I also thought about a pair of Chaos Hunters, but Chaos Hunters conflict hard with Lightning Storm, so got rid of that idea. And what other cards I thought about? It could also be a pair of Twin Twisters, but I don't know how many Tri Brigade or how many back row heavy they're gonna be. So at the end, I choose the safer choice of just Dark Ruler, anticipating a little bit Mirror, but I don't ever think I even played a mirror the entire tournament. I don't. I think there's like one matchup, one round I just forgot what I'm playing against. But from every other rounds I played, there was no mirror for me. It was like a good number of try to or different variants of tries, and then just all the random things. So yeah, this is the side deck. I guess I'll go over my matchup a little bit. Day one, I went 6-2. I got 11th place after Swiss. Um, round one was an outlet trap. Round two was a try to. Round three was a mind burn. And round four was a dino. I won all of them. Relatively easy, I think. I think from the first four rounds, I dropped like one game because game two of round two, my opponent's star was either anti-spell or Imperial Order me. And my hand was actually pretty broken. My hand was like something. My hand was a Darkler Droplet, uh, Darkler Droplet, Pre-Prep Zeta, and my opponent has Appaloosa Revolt, either anti-spell and pre-order. So that was unfortunate. So that was the first four rounds, and I actually went 5-0 for the first five. Round five was one of my friends was playing the Tribegate Melfi. He got to top eight, and unfortunately lost. Round six was a try to. I lost in time because a little bit misplay. Like I started the game when there's like very few minutes left. I started instant fusion because I had to, and then my opponent gave me throughout the turn. He showed me an Ash, a Crow, and a Cycle Reader. It was almost a try to opponent. Like, but the Cycle Reader final was at the end used on my Natasha, but I could very easily summon Natasha first, gain the 1K back on my Mu Beta for the first heal, and then tribute it, then try to summon back heal Cycle Reader there. And at that case, was I would still be a draw, but I kind of slightly didn't go optimal, took a little bit risk, and cool, died that way. So that was a loss that could be into a draw. But at that point, I was like turn 5-1, and I only need to win one more rounds to top the tournament. So I didn't really care. Round seven, I forgot. I won this one. It was the last match. They won that matters, and I absolutely forgot what I played against. I'm sorry to my opponent, but I just kind of exhausted. And round eight was against an Agnister guy. I know him playing that, and then but I wasn't trying to play because I was X1 going to the final round. I guarantee top if I'm X2, so I kind of just like pretend I'm playing traps and set all the spells even they are alive, and let my opponent do whatever and scoop, pretending I just do terrible. And well, unfortunately, I didn't see him in top there, so well, now he knows I'm not playing Outledge. I'm playing I'm playing Drytron. So that was for day one. Day one, I got to 6-2, 11th place. Day two, top 32 was a PK, like I mentioned earlier. I at one point Prohibition called Torn Skill and actually delayed it for a turn or two and won me the game. Top 16 was a dragon. It was one of the most unfriendly opponent I had throughout the tournament, and I Natasha him in time. He did not have Scarlight, so it was a dragon. He did not have Scarlight. He could actually go for Savage Scarlight and kill me, but that didn't happen. He didn't have it, so I Natasha back. No, I didn't Natasha. At the end, it was like he ended with Sphere IP and Savage pass. I go Droplet, cost my entire hand, including Ava and Thing. Negate all three. Ava, if I search 2, normal Diviner battle phase punch the IP. Because IP's cutting half is 400, my Diviner is 500. So that's how I won. It was a very large ruling dispute about like different kind of a slow play and random bullshit and stalled quite a bit. But that's how it was. Top A was the Invoke Dogmatica. Like I said, I actually at one point in Prohibition called Alistair. They actually want me to game actually that way. Very funny. Top four was Plunder Patrol. Yeah, that match burned the last energy of like I had that day because I have to actually having my neuron on just to make sure looking every single card effect correct and get to play. So game one, I full board to him into droplet, cause everything, and call by on my orange. I was like, that's probably the only situation he can really play into my board. Like I start with what did I start? I started with like pre-prep with no Drytron, then my Delta joined to a Drytron, so I full boarded. My ending was like my ending was Beatrice, Linkreeble, IP Perfection with 4 fairies in him pass. But he just has Droplet for 2, then Call by Grave on the orange. And I was like, okay, I guess we have to play for a bit. And I actually outgrinded him at the very end. I was on my last extra deck. It was a Millennize that did a bad hit with my pod. And yeah, that's what happened. I outgrind my Plunder my opponent, and I actually out of everything at that point. So that was game one, took like almost 30, 35 minutes. Game two, he let me go first when I think he will go first, and I just will be like, oh, I'll pass. My hand was Lightning Storm Droplet, and then Gamma Benton Ava. Like I said earlier, I never want to ever stars Gamma. And since he let me go first, there's no reason I really don't do anything. I don't want to lose my Droplet, so I just let it go. And he OTK'd me. That's whatever. Because I start game three. I let him go first because time is almost called. He made a board. He ended with Toad, Blackbeard, and the back row. To me, I look at my hand. There's like a minute left on the clock. Cool, Dark Ruler, Pot, Grab Diviner, normal. Diviner, did it resolve or not? Diviner either just got impermed or I send the Enters to pop the imperm. And then I go, Alpha. Well, I know he used his entire hand, so I know he has like only one plunder he had back. So I go Alpha Gamma, go through Ben 10, go through Natasha. Natasha, all right, it's time. So that was top four, but that top four burnout, like just top 16, top 4 burn out like majority of my energy of the day to a point when I get to finals, I already super exhausted. I won game 1 because my hand is just stupid. I lost game 2 because my hand was stupid, but I wasn't playing optimally. And game 3, my opponent's hand was stupid. I opened kind of bad, and he has Ash Gamma Psycho Reader. So, no, it was Ash Gamma Vader. So that's what happened to the tournament. So this will be the part 1 of the deck profiles. I guess we'll go through a lot of combos in part two, and hope everyone like it. And I will see everyone in part two. See ya.